Hello everyone, welcome to Glass Half Dead, and today we are looking at what I learned from my Warhammer World experience with the Commander expansion. I emphasize what I learned because you can already go to lots of other YouTube channels and they are already giving what they learned about the Commander expansions. Um, I learned pretty much what they learned, so there's not too much unique here. However, there is one or two things that I haven't seen mentioned anywhere else. Let's take a look at what I saw. So, what they told me was that every faction gets at least one commander. Almost all of them will get two, and some of them are going to get more than two. I think it's a pretty safe bet that if you are Space Marines, you're going to be getting more than two. I mean, Space Marines. When it comes to these that I have on screen here, these small little expansions, they seem to be one per faction. However, the guy specifically said not every faction is going to get one of these boxes. Okay? So that's interesting in itself. I'm kind of leaning towards Harlequins not getting one, which is, of course, odd because Harlequins have lots of commanders that they could just easily port over in plastic sprues. But with no Harlequin faction expansion, who knows? The Commander's expansion set will give you, obviously, well, everything you see here. It gives you data cards, Commander tactics, from the looks of it, I'm guessing here. But that you can clearly see data cards. I'm guessing the other box is Commander tactics, specific tactics. All of the dice you need there, not dice, tokens you need there, and also the rulebook. However, on the tokens there, we do see, okay, so we get 6 burning rings of fire, which part of me wants to say, so they're not objectives because objectives are hexagonal in all of the faction expansions. So perhaps it's a new resource that we have to keep track of for commanders. Don't know. But we also see the numbers 1, 3, and 5. We also haven't seen small wound counter size markers. We don't know what those mean either. However, if we look at that sheet, we have one of each marker. We can one of each move, fullback, ready marker, which means we are getting enough markers for the single model that we are purchasing. Now, I think that's interesting in itself. They're not just throwing new markers at you so that they make sure everyone has enough markers. It implies that everything on that sheet is very specifically for your commander. So there are going to be 6 things that we can allocate to them. Is it? I was going to say command points, but those already exist. Um, Commander points. Who knows? We don't know yet. Maybe we will have an insight by the end of this video. Hmm. We don't know what the 135 is. We don't know. Oh, and the flesh wounds, obviously, we know that. Back to the rulebook. The guys told me that every single option for the commanders is going to be in the rulebook. You don't need the extras. So potentially this is a single purchase for everyone. With that said, they are the kind of people that would also say that you only need to pick up the core starter set, and you don't need any extras. And while that is true, you can play the game that way. Obviously, there are more things in your faction expansion that you're going to want to play that kill team correctly. We really don't know what's coming in these boxes. We don't know if you have to buy that. I mean, looking at the Tau team there that's been set out, we obviously have a data card on the left there. We've got the same token sheet. We have a nice little fluff booklet, which is nice. I'll enjoy reading that. And then we have 9 cards, which look to be tactics sized, but obviously we have no idea what they mean at this point. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that they're going to be unique commander tactics that only a commander can play, but who knows? Who knows? The other thing they said is that the way we can build commanders is going to be less strict than the way Rogue Traders was. Rogue Traders, they said, was that is a single person, and you're not really meant to customize them. It's a unique thing. But obviously, this is a lot more. You can build your guy, and that's what the commander book will let us do. However, they are only going to let us. have the options for what comes in the plastic model kit that we can buy. So, if a Space Marine Commander is one of the options, and I suspect it will, but let's see. If a Space Marine Commander is one of the options, very annoyingly, they don't show the sprue for the Space Marine Commander here. You could build him in any possible way. That's what they're saying. So you could give him a plasma pistol and a lightning claw. You could give him a combi melter and a power sword. You could give him a combi plas and a power fist. You can build him. If it's in the box, they will let you build him that way. Or chainsword, it seems. However, if your box, for example the Cadra Fireblade, only has a single static pose, which this does, they only have a single option. This is the only way you can build the Cadra Fireblade. Then this will be your only option. That's what they told me, which I'm not very happy with. I would much rather they just kind of throw the gates wide open, give every faction commander access to the entire arsenal for that faction and say, guys, go crazy, build whatever you want. I'd really enjoy that. I think that'd be really cool. I totally get why they've done it this way because obviously they're trying to tie us into 40k and this is the way it can be built, obviously. They've been very consistent with that throughout 8th edition as well. They've removed certain weapon options if they don't exist as a model. So I can't really, this isn't a shock. It's just a bit sad, a bit of a shame, that's all. Because who knows, maybe I would have wanted to give my Cadra Fireblade a pulse carbine instead of a pulse rifle. But there you go. However, if Space Marine Captain is an option, rejoice, build him however you want, which is awesome. You have all seen these pictures already before. I'm not going to talk about them too much. What have we got up next? So here we get the Primaris Librarian and fun stuff. I managed to get a close-up of his data sheet, or his data card, sorry. Super grainy, but let me talk you through it. So he doesn't have anything particularly crazy. He's got a bolt pistol, a force sword, frag grenade, crack grenade. That's fine. His abilities are, and they shall know no fear. Psychic Hood, we don't know what Psychic Hood does, and Transhuman Physiology. I had to zoom in and out between these two pictures for quite a while to figure out what was being said here. His speciality is Primaris Librarian, Weirdborn. Weirdborn. I'll say it again. Weirdborn. Wyrdborn. We don't know what that means. Might not mean anything, might just be fluff. But there you go. Pretty cool. And also, we just see on the right there that he is a commander. And then the next letter, I'm going to guess is T. So I'm guessing it's going to say Commander Tactics, whatever. So there you go. That is the data card for a commander. Again, we've seen this before. And the next picture you have also seen, but maybe you haven't. This isn't mine. Somebody got this. Somebody posted this on Facebook, and I'm just going to talk you through it. Really. Here we see. So if we go back to Tau, here we go. Somebody obviously took a picture pointing upwards. So this is that. So looking at this, we can guess that when I said there were 9 cards there, 8 of them seem to be tactics cards, unless those are different, but 8 tactics, it's roughly correct, fine. And then we have this, and this is pretty cool. This is the kind of leak that we want, so this is awesome. Right, for anyone that can't read it, let me read it out. This is a level 1 Cadra Fireblade is going to cost you 23 points. Now that's expensive. But he gives you Art of Vashiva. Yes, Art of Vashiva. Friendly models within 6 inches of this model, unless it is shaken, that use for the greater good ability, or that use there for the greater good ability, hits on rolls of 5+ instead of only 6. That's pretty tasty. Obviously, I'm sure that all of the commanders are going to be a bit of a powerhouse in their own right, so it's not just 23 points for that ability, but that's a really nice ability. you are doubling your chances of hitting in Overwatch for 23 points. If you play Tau as a bit of a gun line, you definitely want this guy in there. You will be very, very difficult to charge. If you make him a level 2 for 28 points, so 5 points more, you get Disciplined Defense. Now, these are cumulative, so it's not just, yeah, these are cumulative. Disciplined Defense. Your opponent must reroll hit rolls of 6 made for attacks that target this model in the fight phase. That one doesn't excite me as much, I've got to be honest. If he's in close combat, I'm screwed. I've made something, something's gone wrong. It's not terrible, but very, very situational. Not sure if I pay the 5 points for it. Then huge jump up to level 3 there, because now we're at 43 points. Okay? Experienced Medic. Roll a d6 each time a friendly model within 3 inches of this model loses a wound. As long as this model is not shaken on a 6, that wound is not lost. As someone that has run Drukhari and has used their Power from Pain inured to suffering ability, I know just how useless a don't take a wound on a 6 up is. I would not pay this. I would not pay 43 points for that ability. Currently, level 1, 23 points is looking good. Again, this really depends how Games Workshop is going to change tournaments with these rules. Are they going to say that, okay, in tournaments now it's actually 150 points as what you take base, and your commander can be any level? Or are they going to stick to levels 2, 3, and 4 are for campaign only? In tournaments, you are still only able to take a level 1. Unfortunately, I didn't ask. I would have loved to have known that, but there we go. Anyway, final bit here. Level 4, 63 points. Ever hopeful. When a roll is made to determine whether or not the mission ends, if this model is on the battlefield and not shaken, you can choose for the player that made the roll to re-roll it. Interesting. Again, not taking that for 63 points, ever, because that is full on 40 points more than level 1. Honestly, I'm leaning towards saying that tournaments is still going to be level 1 only. I don't think they're going to let level 2, 3, and 4 in, which I'm totally okay with. I think that's totally fine. I'm good with that. I've never had an issue with specialists only allowing to be level 1 in campaigns. So who cares? This is fine. And that's it. That is my rundown of commanders. Let's recap. Every faction is going to get at least one commander option. Most will get two, and a few will get more than that. Don't forget, I believe there are 16 factions, is that right? It's about 16, isn't it? And everybody else has said that there's going to be 40 commanders at least. So, yeah, we're looking at an average of 3 commanders a faction. I'm sure that means Harlequins will get 1 and Space Marines will get 25. But whatever, whatever. All of the options for building your own commanders are going to be in the rulebook. You do not inherently need the extra boxes they are selling to be able to play a commander. Much in the same way that you don't need the faction expansion to play orcs. Not needed, but you are going to want to buy it. And I suspect it's going to be the same here, as we can see from this final image. Again, and they said this very specifically, not every faction is going to get a commander box release. It's going to be, the way we can build commanders is going to be less strict than the Rogue Trader rules. However, they are still going to be constrained by how their plastic kit is sold. And that's it. There you go. Those 4 or 5 bullet points tells you everything I learned about commanders while I was at the Warhammer World. And I hope that's gotten all of you excited. What are your feelings on the Commander expansion? I think it's really cool. I'm really looking forward to Commanders. I want to take a single guy that's just going to really change the battlefield. And I want to be able to make him my guy. And I hope that there's some sort of, you effectively, if you take the same 100-point list, but then you slot in one of your different commanders, it completely changes how the list plays. Because that's going to make the whole game so much more complex, but in a good way. You'll be thinking, first off, do you want to run your normal guys as a swarm, or shooting, or melee, or generalists? And then you're going to be thinking, okay, and then do you want to take your your buff commander or your melee powerhouse commander or your psychic commander. And I think that's going to be really fun to play around with. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I am obviously a day one purchase. It's not even a question, is it? Let's be honest. I do have trepidation for upcoming expansions, but for this as is, I'm excited. When they start releasing the fast attack expansion and the heavy slot expansion and the Lords of War expansion, I'm going to have questions. But right now, I want this expansion. This is a good development for Kill Team. This is on the proviso that they don't force us to have named characters. Let me create my Cadra Fireblade. Let me create my Primaris Psyker. Okay? That's what I want. If they do that, I'm not going to complain, honestly. Okay, everybody, this has been Glass Half Dead. I hope you've managed to glean a few little gems of insight that no other video has given you. Let me know your thoughts on the Commander expansion. What do you hope it can do? Is the Commander coming out for your faction, changing the faction you want to play? I know that for me, I moved away from Necrons because you know what? They were boring. I'm gonna say it, they were kind of boring. They had no personality and flavor. I'm really hopeful that being able to add an Overlord or a Cryptek is going to completely change them because, of course, those big characters for Necrons have lots of personality in the fluff and in main 40k. I hope everyone's having a great day. Glass Half Dead, signing off. Goodbye.